Hello from Salisbury. This is Charles Goddard speaking, and this is another in our series of instructional videos. Try to keep them short, more of an introduction than anything else, just to give you an idea of what is possible. Today we are taking a look at rate of change, otherwise known as the ROC, and it is an oscillator. And the typical use of this particular oscillator is for overbought and oversold, and I find that a pretty useless use of this oscillator. Overbought, oversold, there are conditions that can remain in place for a long time as the price does all kinds of gyrations, so it's not very helpful. So the ROC is a multifaceted tool, and there's all manner of things that can be done with it. But today we're going to deal with divergence from the price and how that can help us get out of trades in a timely fashion. So let's get started. But first, let's talk about me. There's that handsome devil on the screen right now. And I was in the investment industry for many years, and as a portfolio manager at the end, I have high-level designations that are industry specific. The CMT is specifically technical analysis. It took 3 long years, 3 tough exams to get, and I also spent a lot of time, a lot of money in one-on-one mentoring and in workshops with veteran traders, the sort of chap that worked the famed commodity pits of Chicago. And I like to think that as well as some book learning, I bring some practical aspects to the whole trading, investing, learning that you'll be doing. So let's see if we can find some of that. All right, so we're looking at a chart of Apple to demonstrate divergence and what we do should we come across it in our open trades. Now, if you look at the first black vertical line on the left-hand side, you'll see that we've got a high in price. Now, that red candle is a new high. And if we follow the black line up to the rate of change in the upper panel, we'll see that the rate of change does not match the price with a new high of its own. So if you've got the rate of change and it doesn't have a new high, and you've got a new high in price, this is divergence. This is a warning, and consequently we need to take action. Let me just backtrack a minute here. The rate of change is set at 21 periods, and I find that that works quite well. You could use 28, which is a very common time frame for divergence, but I found 21 works pretty well. So I set mine on 21. You can experiment based on your own trading techniques, which works best for you. Now, as I said, we've been served a warning, so we don't want to jump out of our Apple trade right away in case the warning is a false one, and the ROC could turn around and start tracking the price properly, and we would have gotten out of our trade for no reason. But it is a warning, and it is significant, and so we want to prepare ourselves. So what I do is I'll take a trend line, and I'll put it on the price, which is right here, that black line. That mess you see there is me doing a purple trend line. But so what we're looking for now is we're looking, first of all, that trend line, as I cover in other videos, is a significant trend line. It's taken a while to form. It's got touches 2 or 3 places spread out along its length, and therefore when you've got a trend line like that, and also the angle is close to 45 degrees, which is the best angle, the most sustainable angle. So when it gets broken, it is a significant event. It means your trend is indeed in jeopardy. So I'm looking for a close below that trend line, which occurs in that yellow box. And then I put a stop sell just under the candle that closed below the trend line. And if the price continues on down, well, then I'm out of the trade. So now, once we're out of the trade, are we done with Apple forever? No, we're just now looking for a new trigger to get back in to our trade. And if you're wondering about that, I've like people have all manner of ways of trading. I came across one guy and he just traded Apple and oil, and so it's sort of like, okay, that's interesting. So um, he would just then look for his next entry point if he was out, the way we're going to right now. So our next entry point per our process, which you don't know it, but I can tell you this is my process, and it will get me back in over here, right around here. My protective stop would go under support right here, and then we would keep an eye on the price, and as it moves on up on its way to another black vertical line, once this level of resistance has been cleared, we would move our stop to just under here from down here. And but as we get to a new high right here, we don't have a new high in the rate of change. So again, we've got danger, Will Robinson. So we put a trend line on, and in this case it's a yellow line, as I show my versatility with the colors. Now you could also make a case for putting a trend line right here, and this would get you out in this place instead of over here in the yellow box. And this is as I look at this again, this is what I would do, and I would be out over here, not over here. And as you can see, the trend is broken. The reason you don't jump to this trend line is it's perhaps a little too steep, but it's very similar to the other one. So we would probably use that one and get out back here. But as long as you're have got your process and you know what rules you're obeying for yourself, here is good, or here would be slightly better. But you always need to let your trades have room to breathe. So you don't want to jump out too quickly. But then I'm likely to get back in with the next trigger, whereas others would not. You can see in the text box there's some guidelines there for the rate of change divergence. Now, from one high to another, we need a certain amount of time to go by. So I allow 60 days between high points in order to entertain the whole divergence concept. And then within that, you've got a period of time where there was a new high in the rate of change, and then you get the new high in price. There needs to be at least 6 days. So in this case, we had a high in the rate of change back here, and there's more than 6 days have elapsed from there to the black line. So I need at least 6 days for that to form, and to act on the divergence. What we're looking at here is a weekly chart of Apple, and it's always interesting to see how weekly charts clean out a lot of the noise from the daily chart. But you can see we've got the condition is the same. We've got a high in price unmatched by a high in the rate of change. Put on our trend line. In this case, it's a red trend line, and as soon as we've got a close below that trend line, we put in our stop sell, our protective stop, and if the price continues on out, we're out as soon as it it gets below the close of that candle that crossed the trend line. So it's very simple, and I should point out that the opposite is true. If you've got a new low in Apple, unmatched by a new low in the rate of change, that would be called bullish divergence, and you would just apply the same technique. You would put a trend line on the price that's been going down, and as soon as that trend line is closed above, then you've got permission to buy Apple on the bullish divergence. So that is the weekly chart. Now, this has got a little is a special little memory for me, because back in 2000, I had others managing my clients' money, and 2000 saw the market do a swan dive for the next couple of years, and it was quite severe, and my clients took it on the chin, and I wasn't happy about it, but it was at the end of that 2 years I had made up my mind to start training myself and being more hands-on with the actual day-to-day investments in their portfolios. And so I spent a long time, several years, doing that, as I've shown you. And by the time 2007 came around, we were looking at the same setup as in 2000. We had a high on the monthly chart, and there wasn't a new high, as you can see in the rate of change above. So yellow box is right here where we've got the new high in price, unmatched by a new high in the rate of change. So I put a trend line on, and as soon as that was closed below, I took all my clients to cash. No client of mine lost a dime in the nightmare that followed, and you can see it was quite the nightmare. And that was terrific. And I had gone back to 2000 because I had chastised portfolio managers quite severely for not looking after my clients' money a little better, and just to see if now with my new knowledge would I have seen that. And it was the same thing. I could see that, and they should have been gotten out at that point as well. And just as an aside here, you can see from the top of 2000 that if you invested in the top of the 2000, you were into 2013 before that money of yours started to gain again. at 13 years. And this is, I hear people talking all the time so casually about buy and hold. The S&P only ever goes up. Yeah, it goes up, and it does go to new highs and all of those great things. But for 13 years, that is a patience that I know from dealing with clients for many years. Most people just don't have that. So you need to be a little more active, and you can do so with this is just one part of it. You don't need to be a riverboat gambler. You just need to get in and out of your trades as the conditions change. If you got into a trade based on certain conditions and those conditions change, then you need to get out and wait for a new trigger to get back in, use your stop losses and so on. So we'll go through a couple of reminders here about rate of change. First of all, It is only a warning, and you need call it a setup, if you will. You need a trigger, which is, in my case, I use the trend line, and I would get out as that is closed below. And this is only a warning because the rate of change can go back to matching the movement of the price. Now, the divergence in the rate of change to price does not happen every time. So don't sit around thinking, oh well, I've got this trade, but I'm okay because Goddard said there's going to be a divergence. There's not a divergence every time. I just say you pay attention when one occurs, but you must have your stops in place to take care of you. And another way of dealing with the warning, and I've used this in the past, and that is when you get a divergence, change your stop to a trailing stop. So if the price continues on up, then the stop will follow the price up, and as it turns back, you will get out on that trailing stop. And that is our startling conclusion for the rate of change. And I realize that this may have raised more questions, so you can see my email address there. Please feel free to drop me a line if questions have come up, and I'll be most happy to answer them. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and I hope your trading goes well, and take care of yourselves. Bye now.